or switching between the two, you'll want to start using this new UI. We do have the feature built into this UI to go back and forth, but that's only going to be available for so long. Once our dev team has finished updating various pages, that old app is going away and you will have no choice but to use this one. So when you all first log in, this is what you will see in your account. You'll see your widgets. Scrolling down, you're going to see your notes and correspondence, left-hand navigation, and by default, your activities open and it will display due today and past due activities. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go through and do a little overview on some things. I'm not doing a training on items that you already should be aware of. So, and excuse me, I am losing my voice. So let's just start up here at the right corner, upper right corner in this drop down. Everything is pretty much the same, but I did want to let you know because we have only one way to submit a support ticket now. So if you go to help, that's going to open up a new window and it's going to take you to our knowledge base. This is where you're going to submit a request. So I can click on that and it's going to go right into a ticket. That's where we want you to submit a support request. The knowledge base right now, we do have the classic questions in here like Q&As, tips and whatnot. That's going to go away and everything will be 2.0 related. So just want to let you know the knowledge base will look a little bit different and with updated articles and videos. So we're currently working on all of that right now. But for those of you who have a big question on submitting a ticket, this is where you want to do that. So I just want to make sure you are aware of that. And notification bell, I'm not going to go into that. That is the same thing, notifies you if someone responds to an email or a text or starting workflows, that's the same. This is LSAI. I'm not sure if many of you have really given this a quick look, but you have the option when it opens up, it has generic post for you. These do not go away, but as you start entering prompts, Ellis is going to save those prompts and you will have a history. So for example, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to click on my AI chat history and it's going to open up the chats that I've done previously. And I've actually done quite a bit. Let me see here. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Let's see. Let's go back over here. Chat history. There we go. So I add a few more pages. I've deleted some, but you can see some of these basic prompts that I've asked. What I do recommend when you start doing this is when you ask a question, be really specific with it and in the title, because what I've done is I've gone into a specific prompt and I just kept that history going within one prompt. And then I'm searching for a specific prompt and I already have it mixed in with another. So be really specific. I want you all to play around with this, get comfortable with it. But you can pretty much ask it anything. You can ask it for help, for a help desk, but mainly we're using it for, you know, for example, one of my previews, I just recently did this, respond to one of my buyers who's interested in previewing my listing on York Street. And when I did that, it loaded my conversation and I can copy and paste, I can refine that prompt and whatnot. So you're going to be able to preview that. This usually goes a lot faster, but my internet right now is currently a little slow, so my apologies. But you can see, please write a response to my buyer who's interested in previewing my listing at 723 York Street. And it's going to come up with this. So little things like that. I'm going to just X out of here and go back into chat history. So you always want to go back into that chat history to see all of your previous prompts. As the system gets to know you and how you work, what's going to happen is you're going to be able to ask it all kinds of things. You're going to be able to ask it, give me a list of all my C clients who I have not contacted in over 60 days. It'll list those clients. Once it does that, then you can go ahead and say, okay, now write an email, a re-engagement email to kind of reintroduce myself and apologize for not being, in contact. Things like that. So really what we want you to do is play with LSAI, get familiar with it, get comfortable with it when you can. My goal, just so you know in the future, is I wanted to build out a workflow for me. I've already been asking just details, but I think in the future, what we want Revolve to do is go into LSAI and say, I need a long-term buyer workflow for 6 months. I want to email my clients once a week, and I want to call them every 2 weeks after that. And it's going to build out the workflow for you. And then, okay, now write all the templates for me. So that is where I'm headed. That's what I'm asking for it to do. So I'm hoping that our dev team can make that happen. So that's going to be huge. So just to kind of give you an idea of where we're going with that. Let me see, going over these widgets, right? Oh, one more thing, I almost forgot, launch. This is fairly new. We had it in the old AI and then we took it away because as a coach, I am always asking you to go to the specific record that you want to start the workflow on. And mainly that's me because I use this as well. I want to see the details of the record or the people, property, or transaction that I'm actually starting the workflow on before I start it. But you can start it from here. So if I click on that workflow and let's just say, for example, I want to go ahead and start the active MLS workflow and I want to start it on, let's see here. Let's see if I'll start it on Main Street. I'm going to go ahead and go through the process here. Once you start the workflow here, I'm just going to go through the process really quick. Once you start it here, it will not open up the contact record or the property record, etc. It's just starting the workflow as a quick access. Let's start the workflow on this right now. Then you can go into the record later. Again, I always go into the specific record to do this, but everybody works differently. I work differently than a lot of you agents do as well. And I've been doing this for a long time. And again, we brought this back because there was a high demand for it. So that's what that is. Start a workflow on a property transaction or a contact record. Just know when you start it, it will not actually open the record. It's just launching the workflow. Let me see here. I want to kind of talk about these widgets a little bit because we do have a few new ones. Down here, we have pending transactions. So any pending transactions that you have will be displayed here. And I can click on any one of them and it will open up the record. The same with all my active listings. I can click on any one of those, but it's showing me, rather than having to do filters and search, it's showing me my pendings. It's showing me my active listings. It's showing me the listing price, the list date, who's the agent, especially when we're working on large teams. That's huge. So we did add those in there. We've also added the upcoming appointment widget. So it's going to show you today and probably tomorrow's upcoming appointments. I don't know how far in advance it goes. I typically use it a couple days. But this will go into, so for example, I have a listing appointment today at 1 o'clock. So if I'm going to click on that, it's going to take me to my record that I have the listing appointment on. Let me go back over here. Again, just like the old UI, these widgets, you can, few things, you can hide them if you don't want to see them. Or if you click over on this settings wheel, you can select which ones you want to see. Let's see, I don't want to see those. I only want to see the ones that I have checked. I can apply and only those will show. For now, I'm going to keep all of them. This is really important. Use the old UI at the next login. This is where you go if you feel you want to go back to the old login. We really want you to not use the old AI anymore. We understand that, change is difficult, for some of us because we're so busy and we don't have the time to do this. But you can do this. This will be available for a little while longer until our dev team has completed all of the updated pages. So if you want to go to the old UI, just check mark this box, hit apply, and then when you log out and you go to log back in, it will take you to the old UI. I'm going to go ahead and cancel here. And then notes and correspondence, that is pretty much the same. filters and whatnot. Right now it's viewing everything that I have, but if I just want to view my emails, I'm just going to click on that filter and it will show me my emails only. Sometimes I don't care to see all of my notes and correspondence. I know larger teams, they hide this because it can be overwhelming. So if you don't want to see that notes and correspondence, hide it, and maybe just want to focus on your widgets. So you can customize that as well, and you can hide it. And one thing you can do, you could do in the old UI as well, is if you want to move your widgets around because you don't like the way they're placed, you can do that. So you can see I have mine exactly how I want to see them. So it's like that every time I log in. Okay, so let's go to, that's it on the dashboard and the icons. Now I want to go over to this left-hand navigation panel. Some things are kind of the same. Add new. This is where you're going to go to add that new contact record, property transaction, etc. I'm going to hide that right now. Search for anything is also similar. If you're searching for something, I always search by name because I'm always searching for someone. It makes it faster. If I keep this search for anything, especially for a team, if I type in my name, for example, it's going to search and pull up every contact record, every property transaction that I'm associated with. So I really try to minimize the results when I'm searching for something specific. So if I'm going to search for, let's just say I'm going to search for, don't mind my typing, it's horrible. I'm going to search for Jake Davis. When I search his name, he's right here. He pulled up right away. Make sure, I want to show you this, when you're up here and you're searching for something, make sure you X out of that name because that will stay there and it's kind of like a filter that will stick. So we want to make sure that you clear everything. The tables in the old UI, the dashboard, the calendar, the workflows, and the templates, all of that used to be at the top of the page. This is all now in the left-hand navigation panel. So you have the dashboard if you ever want to go home. You have the calendar to access your calendar, whether that's monthly, week, or day. A list of all of your workflows. And remember, you can filter by workflow. So if you only want to view your property workflows, select the little house. Okay, I typically view all. So these are all my workflows. And then if you need to search for templates, here's your templates. And maybe you just want to search for fall. There's my fall template. Again, I'm searching, but make sure you clear out this little search button because then it's going to keep everything minimized. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to go into contacts. So again, if you want to view all contacts, a lot of people are searching names, but if you want to view, for example, let's say I'm pulling up a filter. I'm going to pull up my category C. And I have, it'll show me, it'll drop to 54 people. I've got 54 people in my C list. I want to view all. So I'm going to go right into contacts to this bar. And I'm going to select view all. And this is going to pull up everybody. Okay. So this is where, as you all know, you can still email, a mass email. You can update. You can add tags, remove, and do everything in bulk and save a lot of time. My main thing is I just wanted to make sure because people are searching for contacts or they're creating filters. And once they do this, they're not seeing everything. You have to go to view all to see everyone if you want to see it in list view. This one specific filter will remain. So you have to go back to all contacts. It won't automatically do that. It will stick. So we just want to make sure, see, it just went back to 433. We just want to make sure that you remember to go back to all contacts. I've been using this for months and I still at times, because I'm in the newsletter filter all the time, I always forget to go back to all contacts. So it's just something that you need to be aware of there. Properties and transactions. Let me minimize this. Okay. Something that's going to be coming soon here is our dev team is currently working on is filtering by agent. We used to coach to our clients to tag any agent that had a specific transaction or property associated with them, but they're going to be adding in a people tab here like they do active or contacts, and they're going to have a ownership here. So you will be able to search by agent if you're on a team, their specific properties or transactions. So just wanted to keep you posted on that. And let's go down to tags. So the list of tags you can see, I have a lot, but you're going to be able to scroll through all of them. Right now, the feature to delete a tag currently is not there. It was in the old UI. It's not there now, but they are working on putting in the delete button here because sometimes people just want to delete tags rather than relabeling them. And we understand that. But keep in mind, when you need that tag, you can't just add the list here. That tag needs to be added to a contact record for that tag to exist so you can use it. Okay, just want to make sure you're all aware of this. Let me minimize my tags here, and I'm going to go quickly down here to activities. Again, when you hear me go back to the dashboard, get out of my contacts. When you go to the dashboard and you log in, by default, your activities for the day or anything past due will show here. So we just want you to know here, this new little button here, you can toggle it. And when you toggle it on or off, it'll either show both due today, past due, or it's going to show current day only. So you can play around with this toggle button here. Let me see what else you can also do. As you know, those people that work on teams, when you view all activities, again, this is a bar where you can hit view all. I'm going to select view all, and there's going to be a few activities that maybe I don't have time to do. I'm going to reassign them to that user. So maybe I want to reassign those to Katie. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. I think Katie's the user. Whoops. Let me go back in there. Give me 1 second. I want to view all. So that was assigned to me. Now I want to reassign. This should work. And if it doesn't, oh boy. Amber, make note. I got to reach out to Dev. That should have worked, everybody. So my apologies. First bug of the day, hopefully the last one. Let me see. Let me minimize this. Let me go back to my dashboard. So again, today's call, very brief, because we really want to take time to answer your questions, because we know this is new and you all are used to the older UIs. For those of you that have been into this new UI and you're getting used to it, you're like me to where when you go into the old UI, you don't like it. And again, I've been using this for quite some time. I can see some names in here that were in the beta process of this and helped us come up with some of these changes. So we appreciate all of your support and help on this as well. So what I would like to do now is I'd actually like to look at some chat questions. And again, just a friendly reminder, support ticket if you have any issues to submit to our support team or email them support@realvolve.com. Okay. Amber, are there any questions that we can kind of just dive right in?
Well, the only question we have as of now is from John regarding activities. That would be a great one to submit a support ticket so that they could take care of that super quick for you.
Okay. Any other chat questions? I figured we'd have a lot of questions on how to actually use this or just being comfortable using this. I'm trying to think of what else I could show you. Those were really the main things that I wanted you all to be comfortable with. And stress, I can't stress enough for you to actually and have your team members using the new UI. I don't know, we thought it was going to be the end of this month that the old UI was going to go away. I can't even give a date now. It might be in a few weeks. It could be the end of April. So we just want to make sure that you are in fact using this new UI. We just want to make it easier for you to navigate, giving you that clearer visibility into your contacts and your communications and daily activity. So as you begin using this new layout, we really want you to encourage using that dashboard and reviewing your contacts and getting comfortable with where everything is, you know, because the more organized that you are, even with your tags and your filtering, the activity views, it's going to help you keep everything organized. And again, I've been using this for so long, and I've coached a lot of you on how to get those processes in and using it correctly. So it's a little bit less, you know, no one likes to have a bunch of tasks every day. Let's try to automate as much as you can. So as you know, you come up with questions, let us know. Let us know how we can help. You know, email us at support and say, what about this feature? You know, because as we evolve, again, we had to redesign this so we could actually evolve to put in more features and make it more AI friendly and more, robust. And I know you all don't like hearing that word because the system, that's what we get a lot of, oh, it does so much, I don't know where to start. Well, you can go as easy as you want on this, or the more experience you get with it and the hands-on, it can do so much more. And we actually have title companies that are starting to use this now. So ask questions, get the features, let us hear what you want, because we're building this out with you in mind to make the future of this better. So you can be better and make the time to build out those relationships. So I'm hoping that, at least this small tutorial has helped a little bit as far as navigating around and seeing what widgets are new. We are going to be adding in the future a few other widgets as far as reporting. We have a lot of agents that want to have, how many emails did they send today? How many calls did they make? So more metrics are coming. But again, we want to hear from you. What would you like to have? Because as agents, I 100% understand that we are pulled in every direction with using and paying for multiple platforms, and it gets to be too much. So the more that we can take off your plate and add into this platform, the better. Because again, we want to simplify things for you, not make them more complicated.
Lisa, if you want to hop into chat, we have some questions.
Okay, let me see here. Give me one moment here. Okay, let's see. What happens to our data when we use the AI chat from a security perspective? All of that information stays in-house in Realvolve. It does not go anywhere. We've gone through a lot of encryption and security features and whatnot during our beta and our testing. So everything stays, it's not released anywhere. Let me see. Can you search anything to search for specific words versus name, properties, etc.? So are we thinking that maybe you, in the search bar, Livette, I'm thinking? Trying to get a specific what you would be looking for. Let me see here. I'm trying to think of an example. I'm drawing a blank. Amber.
Well, we can look into that, and that might be actually a feature request. So we'll spend a little bit of time off call, and we'll get back to that one.
Okay. I just need a little bit more specific on that. Abby, transactions, when will the date range hold so that I see a couple of months versus hundreds of transactions? That is a great question. And actually our dev team, that is currently in staging right now for those filters to stick. So hopefully we'll have it extremely soon, and we will definitely keep you posted on that. But that is a request. They're working on it, and it's in staging and should be released very soon. Katrina, when you talked about sorting by owners, is there a better way to assign the agent to a customer? We have the record owner right now that gives visibility, but where do we assign the owner? So that would be, for example, if I go into a contact, I mean, that's where you're going to do it in the contact record or any record anyway. You're going to be doing that in the contacts tab at the bottom in record details as the owner, if that's what you're asking. Until in properties and transactions, until that filter has been added, I tag them. So I will tag in this specific person or transaction, I will tag the person's name so I can filter by tag. But this is where you're going to do it. And for those of you who are on Teams, if you want to share records, you can do that. For example, I'm going to share this record with David. So it's also in his database. Rather than having 3 title companies, I can have ABC title and it's shared with everybody. So make sure that you are aware of that so you're not seeing duplicates and triplicates. Let's see, can you spend more time on calendar functions? Yes, so let's go to the calendar. So mine's gonna look a little bit different than everybody. Right now, I am in the month view. You can go into week view, and you can also go into day view. Everybody works a little bit differently. When you're in the month view, click on this more feature, and it's going to show you whether it's your calendar, you can see everyone, anniversary, task, whatnot. If you want to hide activities that you've already completed, right now you need to go to the week tab, select more, hide completed activities, because some of us that are working, especially those transaction coordinators, and you're working on, you know, so many deals per month, you don't want to see those completed tasks on your calendar. You can hide those. You just have to go into the weekday mode. They're going to add this hide completed to the month view. For right now, this is where you need to do that. And also, I did put in a request because all of these activities look the same, so I don't know what's been completed or what has not. So at some point in the future, they're working on this to, let's just say, for example, I already applied this tag. I'm not hiding my previous tasks that are completed, but at least I'll get notification whether it's a shaded, like they used to, like shaded stripes. So it shows that it was completed. Because you can see right now, I have a lot going on here that I can't tell if I completed or not, but I'm not hiding them either. At some point, Dev is working on this, so we can tell the difference. So I'm hoping that's a little bit better. If you go into, for example, I don't know if there's specific workflows. Amber, what's a workflow that you've recently started? Maybe on a property?
Yeah, look for, I think I started on 4472, 121st.
Okay, so let's see if we have activities on this one. Nope, not that one. So I live?
No, not Isla. Franklin Street, Race Street might be a good one.
Okay, well, that's a listing appointment. Do I have incomplete, completed? No. Okay. There's too many properties and transactions I don't want to take you through. But when you start workflows on specific records, also go to that individual calendar and it'll show you. So for example, on my main calendar, it shows that I have a listing appointment for Race Street, and that's it. But when you start the workflow and you have dates for all of your activities, they will show in the calendar tab of that specific record, along with displaying on the main calendar on the dashboard. Let's see here. Example of a complex name that I entered in notes for, okay, for contact, I want to find contact that we're interested in that complex. Okay, so that you should be able to do that. So if I search for anything, let's just say I typed in Cherry Hills. I don't have that example in here, but if I had a note in a specific record and I typed in Cherry Hills, it's probably going to pull up my contact record, Joe Smith, because Joe Smith, in my notes and correspondence, I wrote Joe is interested in living in Cherry Hills. So you should be able to search something like that and then open up contacts to see if any names display here. But you should be able to do that because I've done it in the past. So I hope that helps. Katrina, sorry, I should have added, should we be putting the agent as the assigned agent And does that new search that is coming make the record owner irrelevant? Let's see here. Well, the record owner is different than the assigned agent, especially when we're running workflows. So I would put the owner as the agent, and then any transaction coordinator, assistant, put them as the assigned person. So let me see here. Yeah, so in the new search, always, because we're only going to be searching by not the assigned agent in that search filter, Katrina, we are going to only have the search by the record owner of that specific record. I'm hoping that makes sense. If not, we can review that again. Let me see here, Abby. Why do I get 2 emails? One from RV and one from the person I sent it to, and which one I respond to? Do you, in your settings, do you happen to have maybe your emails on BCC? Is this happening in a workflow where you're getting BCC'd on or CC'd on? That could happen as well.
Another thing that might be is in your settings, if you have it turned on to where you want notifications for incoming emails, you'll get an email to your inbox saying, hey, so-and-so responded to you from us at Realvolve, and then you'll get another one from the person who sent you that email. We always like to tell people, head into Realvolve and respond to the email from in there.
Right. Okay, perfect. Let me see. Have you considered hosting monthly training sessions? Actually, this is a great question. I was just talking to Amber and our support team. Now that we've launched this and our dev team is working on finishing up some pages, we are going to bring not monthly, but at least weekly trainings. They'll probably be maybe 30 to 45 minutes in length, and we'll probably do our first one next week. We're working on a list of right now of what topics we'll cover on which days. We'll send out emails. We'll share on the Facebook community group what we're going to be covering, and it'll just be an open room. Calling it roundtable. I think it's roundtable, Revolve roundtable, something like that. But we are bringing that back, so you guys can all pop in if you feel you want to hop in. There's no formal invite. It'll just be a designated room, certain day of the week, and you'll just pop in. So we are going to send out an email with more information on that, but those trainings are coming back. Let's see. Trying to think of what in here. Same as Michelle, creating and editing workflows. Did I miss a question here?
I'm thinking maybe going over
creating and editing workflows. Yes, yes. So, okay, great. Yeah, that's a good one. Maybe we should note that, Amber.
Yeah.
Maybe we can cover that next week or the week after, because that's a big one. Let's see. To record longer meetings, upgrade to Pro. Okay, we'll skip that one. Similar question, when do the filters stick for the activities? Abby, they are actually working on that. That's in staging right now, so that should be very soon. When are they updating a mass update of record owners? I will have to look at our support. I know that that is a request as well. I'm just not sure where that is in the staging process, but I'll look into that. Amber, will you make note for me to check on that after this call?
Yes.
Let's see. Recording will be available. We'll send that out later. Let me see. Feature requests when editing a workflow, be able to see the colors of the activities within the workflow, not having to open up each task. I like that.
Yeah, we can definitely put that in.
Yeah, that's a great one. And one feature request, kind of not to go off topic, but in that workflow builder, I wanted to actually drag and drop activities to where I wanted them, but then that wasn't really, I think that'll work if you have 10 activities on start date, but then you can reorganize them rather than putting high 1, medium 2, you can drag and drop and put your activities in the order that you want them to appear. So hopefully they'll all be able to make that happen. Let's see. The notifications list will tell you the last workflow that you ran. Yes, so the notification bell, if that's what you're thinking, will tell you what you started most recently. So if I go up here, it'll show workflow activity was created for 999 Main Street. That was a test that we did this morning. Also, keep in mind here, I'm going to go into settings really quick to your application logs. And you can also see here, I've just recently started these. Don't mind these. These are testings that I canceled, but you can see this is what's running and who started it. You can always see that history there if you haven't before in the past. Okay, do we just send a support ticket for suggestions for system enhancements? Yes, please do so, because you're submitting a request and it doesn't necessarily need to be a system issue or something that you're experiencing. Support has a channel for all these feature requests that are coming in. So please send them in. We want to hear from them. Not that we're going to be able to do all of them, but we want to see what you're wanting, and just to make things easier for you. You know, and if we can get the demand for it, then we can certainly push to make it happen. Let me see. I send emails with attachments, but after the email is sent, when it shows in the radar tab, the attachment's not there. I think it would be important for the attachments to show for our records. I 100% agree with you. And I think it's a little nerve-wracking when we open that up and we can't see it. And that has been submitted to our dev team. And Amber, have you heard any update on that by chance?
I have not checked, but I would be happy to after this call.
Okay, got it. And Kelly, will you give us the correct RV Facebook page? It is our, let me see if I can pull this up. Give me a moment. It is Facebook Revolve Community Group. Okay, what I'll do is I will, in our follow-up email, Kelly, look for it in this follow-up email that will come today, along with the recording. I will put a link to the Facebook community group. Let's see, I get many duplicates in calendar when moving a task to another date. Duplicates in a calendar when moving a task to another date. So are you, just by chance, Frank, I'm going to go onto my calendar. And let's just say, for example, I'm going to move this weekly report over, let me see, not that one, well inspection. I'm going to change that to the 3rd. And that's there, but it's not duplicating. Are you doing it when you're dropping and dragging? Or are you doing it when you go manually and you create a different date?
Looks like he said drag and drop.
Okay, yeah, that should not create a duplicate, because I just moved it from one date to the other and it stayed.
Okay, well, I think that's a good one for a support ticket.
Yeah. Are they working on adding in the activity showing that a checklist? That was a very helpful feature. Adding in activity showing that it's a check. Oh, okay. They are, Abby. I know that was a feature that went away, but they will show that it is a checklist. I think I saw that ticket in there last week. So I know that they're going to be working on bringing that back. Completed calendar task used to disappear immediately in the old UI. Now you have to refresh the completed task to disappear. Is that intentional? That is not intentional, Sophie. I've experienced that myself, that sometimes I will complete an activity and it'll go away. Sometimes I complete it and it doesn't. So that is actually a ticket that I'm watching that they're working on. So we'll definitely keep you updated on that. And also, for those of you, if you're having an issue and you're just waiting or something's not working right, please submit a support ticket so our support team can watch those. And I am actually in support a lot because I do see tickets that come through, especially if they're duplicated. So I can kind of get it over to the dev, because I like to push things to dev. Just for your guys' sake, I really want to help as much as I can. If I can see something, hey, this is not working, I can kind of go behind the scenes and give dev a little push. You know, I do my best for you guys. Let's see here. I had issues upon completing the activity in the transaction. I was sent back to the dashboard rather than staying in the file. Okay, so let me go into York Street. Let's see here. That transaction. Okay, let me see. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to request this. Okay, so I had no person associated with that because that's a test record, but it should stay within the record. It shouldn't take you back to the dashboard, Karen. So if it's still doing that, please submit a support ticket. Progress on Google Sync feature. You know what? This has been the biggest pain in the rear, I must admit. Google Sync has been in our staging going back and forth for a long time. A big request, like you had mentioned, Abby, is to sync with Microsoft. Amber, can you write that down for me to reach out to Deb to see when that feature will come?
Yes.
Thank you. That's a big one. Let's see here. See, Miss, how we do what workflow has been assigned to a contact, and we can reassign multiple workflows to a contact, either all at once or creating the contact through time. Okay, so when you assign, depending on your workflows, again, everybody works a little bit differently. So in some of the workflows, if I am working with Jake Davis, for example, and I start the 10-year contact nurturing or long-term buyer workflow, my very first activity is to automatically tag that person that started on that workflow. So not necessarily do I need to search John Smith. I can search the long-term buyer tag, and it will display everybody that's on that specific workflow. So that's one way that you can see who's assigned to a certain workflow. Let me see here. Can you assign multiple workflows to a contact, either all at once? You won't be able to assign multiple workflows to a contact at once. That's not possible just because you can't assign a contact, property, or transaction workflow at once, and even multiple contact workflows for that matter. But they are bringing back, because we used to be able to do this on the mobile app, to be able to mass start workflows, contact workflows only. So if you wanted to mass start contact nurturing, 10-year contact nurturing on your records, you could do that. My only thing is to not do that. Reason being, well, depending on your workflow. You know, if you have calls in your workflow and you go to mass start your 10-year nurturing workflow on 100 people, then you're going to have 100 tasks to do in one day. For example, you're going to have 100 calls to do in one day. So really, you can do that. They're going to bring that feature back. But I say do that with caution. Just depends on your workflow. Can you complete tasks from the calendar? You should be able to complete tasks from a calendar. I have not done it on this specific one, so let me just see here. I'm going to go to, let me call to, let's just do this one. I'm going to call, and I'm going to complete notes, left message, save and close. So you can, it's still going to show there because I'm keeping my activities in display, but I just completed that call. Let me go to Greenland Way. You can see I updated my note. I left a message. So that task was completed. I left a note, or I left a message, and that note that I just put in my task or my calendar went right to the record. So that's another thing that is really important that I can't stress enough is if you have any activities in your workflows that have a call, in the checklist, put in bracket notes. So that way, before you leave the activity, you can put in notes, and that note will automatically be updated in the record. It's so important, just for the history alone. So every single call in my workflows, every single workflow, every single call in my checklist, bracket notes. That way, that activity, if it's like a non-checklist activity, it won't just go away. The notes are going to be there, and it's going to update the record. So I can't stress that enough. Let me see, Michelle, you're having the same problem with dragging and dropping on the calendar, or with duplicates showing on the calendar. Okay, Michelle, will you do me a favor and submit a support ticket? And actually, Michelle, if you wouldn't mind emailing me as well, because I'd like to schedule a follow-up call with you. Karen, let's see, regarding multiple activities, when a closing date is changed or another important date, the workflow does not update. Let's see here. It should update. So I don't know if I have a good example on here. Give me a moment here. That's a listing appointment. I don't know what workflows I have running, but it should update. Karen, when you are updating your activity, when you just update the closing date, are you refreshing? Because it should automatically update all those activities. And Amber, will you do me a favor and will you write a note so we can actually do a troubleshoot on this?
Yeah,
And Karen, you'll see me go into your account and I'll run a test. Melanie, there currently is not a direct integration with Outlook. But we do have that request into our dev team, so we'll keep you posted on that. Let's see, Karen, it was when I opened the activity and completed the activities list. Okay, we're gonna run a test on your account, Karen, and we'll let you know. Okay, Abby. When not in the records, but in the activities and completing a task, it jumps back to the dashboard and not to the activities. Okay. Let's just see here. I'm assuming that this may be, so if I have an activity here, I'm in my listing appointment activity. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to complete it. And it just goes away and it's staying right there.
Try it from view all.
Let me see. Let's just call it to discuss. There's my notes. Left message. Save and close. Oops. It's not going back to the dashboard.
We can troubleshoot that one.
Yeah, will you make note of that? We'll troubleshoot.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abby, if I'm in the account and you see me in there, everything is always labeled test. If I troubleshoot and I can't fix it on my end, I will reach out to support. Let me see here. Is there a way to search all the contacts that emails are bouncing or spams without going individually through the bell? Typically what we have in place in one of our accounts is if an email bounces and I get that notification, I know as soon as I get the notification, I go into that contact record and I put bounced and I can search by the tag. But right now, as far as I know, that's the only way you can really search.
Well, there is template statistics that I find helpful for that.
Yeah, depending on the email that you send, for sure. But also we have to keep in mind, let me just go into templates, but when we're searching bounces and whatnot, for all of you that are working in teams and you're sending out various emails and various templates every day, that can be hard. But just also keep in mind too, winter home care tips, for example, the template editor, I'm just going to click on statistics. When you're looking at statistics, you're going to see these little, notifications, percentage delivered, etc. Keep in mind, you want to look at the sent date first because this is showing weekly. So if I click on this, I can say I want to view all time, last week, or put in a specific date range, because as soon as you click on that statistic, it's going to show you the current week only. So make sure you filter that date. I just wanted to show you that. Let's see here. Why do you see none or very few recent comments from the Revolve community on the Revolve Facebook? That's because, Frank, great question. I think we're going to be getting better at that here soon. We've been so tied up in getting this new UI updated, but we do have someone that's going to be monitoring that on a regular basis. So you'll see more activity there. So our apologies on that, but we will be better about that. Let's see, feature requests. When you add a task to a templated workflow, it should ask if you want to apply to existing workflows. That would be amazing. I don't know if that would be possible, but that is a great feature request, just because once we launch that workflow, those activities are in there. If you update the workflow and add in new activities, that could be a little challenging, but I like that. That's awesome. I love that. Can you add an edit button on the notes and correspondences? It's frustrating that you can edit this one time and it won't let you do it again. That would be ideal. So if I go in here to, let's just say notes here, I didn't make this note. Let me go do a contact. I'm going to put a note, test. And once I put in that note, it will let me do it one more time. Test. Forgot to call. And then once I put in that second time, it will not let me do it. It only lets you edit twice. And the reason that it has been that way in the past is because we do have teams, other agents, and brokerages. So we don't want agents or someone else coming into a note 2 weeks later and making the change. So either you can come in here and you can maybe copy what you wrote or just delete it and re-add the note. But we highly recommend that we don't give that feature out because anybody can come in here and delete or change notes. Yeah, they can delete it, but we only give you the option a couple times to update the notes. I can put in that feature request and see what they decide on that. But you can edit, at least for now, Frank, you can edit twice. Let's see here. Okay, let's see here. We're running out of the time and we still have quite a few questions left. Let me see here. Feature request for team members, users in RV, have it give an option if you want a workflow task to send to their personal email. Okay. Okay, also the date is changed on the note. Okay, yeah. Okay, let certain users delete notes or edit more than twice. Okay, let me really quick, I'm just going to go in here. I want to go into settings and just go into a user. Let me go into users and permissions, and I'm going to take away admin from David. I'm going to configure those security permissions. So maybe what we could do here is notes. Let me see here. Notes right here. Do you see where I'm going with this? Notes, delete, either for themselves or all users. So you can do that in your permissions if that's what you'd like to do. You just add as many as you want and then you save permissions right here. So I'm hoping that helps here. Let me put that back as admin. I don't want to make that change. Okay. We are right at time, everyone, and I can't thank you enough for attending today's seminar. Keep in mind, we have recorded this call. We've made copy of the chat. We'll email you answers to the chat